You know the song. You've heard it at every sports game, every national event. You've probably even sung it yourself, hand over your heart. But what if I told you that the song we all know as the Star-Spangled Banner has a hidden history? A history that's far more complicated and far darker than what you were taught in school. Today we're uncovering the true story of our national anthem, a story that begins not on a battlefield, but in a smoky, exclusive London men's club. Let's travel back to 18th century England. The song we now sing with such reverence started its life as To Anacreon in Heaven. It was the official song of the Anacreontic Society, a gentlemen's club for amateur musicians. And let's be clear, this was very much a drinking song. The lyrics celebrated love and wine, and it was sung after a night of food, drink, and musical performances. The tune itself was notoriously difficult to sing with a wide vocal range. It was a challenge, a sort of vocal dare for members after they'd had a few glasses. This catchy, challenging tune became incredibly popular, crossing the Atlantic and spreading throughout the American colonies. People started writing their own lyrics to it, dozens of them, for all sorts of occasions. It was the viral sound of its day. Now, let's fast forward to 1814. A 35-year-old liar and amateur poet named Francis Scott Key is on a British ship in Baltimore Harbor. He's negotiating the release of an American prisoner during the War of 1812. He watches all night as the British bombard Fort McHenry. As dawn breaks, he sees the American flag still flying and is so moved that he scribbles down a poem on the back of a letter. He calls it Defense of Fort McHenry. He even suggests it be sung to the tune of To Anacreon in Heaven. It was a familiar, popular melody that he knew people would recognize. The poem was an instant hit, reprinted in newspapers across the country, and the Star-Spangled Banner was born. But it wasn't the national anthem yet, not by a long shot. For the next century, it was just one of many patriotic songs, alongside others like Yankee Doodle and America the Beautiful. So how did this old drinking song become our national anthem? The push began in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, championed by military bands and patriotic societies, but the choice was far from unanimous. Many people found the melody too difficult to sing. Others objected to its origins as a tavern song. But the song had powerful supporters, and in 1931, after years of debate, President Herbert Hoover officially signed the bill making the Star-Spangled Banner the national anthem of the United States. A victory for tradition, perhaps, but it also cemented a version of history that leaves some very important verses out of the story. This is where the story takes a much darker turn. The version of the song we all sing is just the first verse. Key actually wrote 4, and it's in the rarely sung third verse where we find the most controversial and troubling lines. The verse reads, "And where's that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave." Hireling and slave, let that sink in. Who was Key talking about? To understand these lines, we have to look at the context of the War of 1812. The British forces had actively recruited enslaved African Americans to fight against the United States, promising them freedom in return. A group called the Colonial Marines was formed, made up entirely of escaped slaves. They were fighting for their own liberty against the very country that was enslaving them. Francis Scott Key, the man who wrote our anthem, was a slaveholder himself. He was from a wealthy Maryland plantation family and believed that black people were an inferior race. He even once referred to them as a distinct and inferior race of people, which all experience proves to be the greatest evil that afflicts a community. So when Key wrote "No refuge could save the hireling and slave," he wasn't just talking about generic enemies. He was likely referring directly to these colonial Marines, the enslaved people who had dared to fight for their freedom. He was celebrating their deaths, seeing their blood as washing away the pollution of their attempt to be free. The line expresses a grim satisfaction that these escaped slaves could not find safety and were met with death. It's a chilling sentiment hidden in plain sight within the full text of our national anthem. It reframes the song not just as a patriotic tribute, but as a victory cry from the perspective of a slave owner against those who sought to escape bondage. This context changes everything, doesn't it? The song that's meant to represent liberty and justice for all contains a verse that rejoices in the deaths of people fighting for their own freedom. For more than a century, this part of the song's history was largely ignored, brushed aside. We chose to sing only the first verse, focusing on the triumphant image of the flag. We created a simplified, sanitized story that fit the narrative of a united, freedom-loving nation. But history is rarely that simple. The land of the free that Key wrote about was, for millions of black Americans, a land of brutal enslavement. This hidden history has sparked intense debate, especially in recent years. Athletes have knelt during the anthem to protest racial injustice, directly challenging the idea that the song represents freedom for everyone. Critics argue that a song with such a troubling past, written by a man who profited from slavery and actively worked against abolitionists, cannot truly represent the diverse, modern United States. They ask, can a song celebrating the death of runaway slaves ever be a symbol of unity? It's a powerful and uncomfortable question. So the next time you hear the opening notes of the Star-Spangled Banner, remember its full story. Remember the smoky London club where its tune was born. Remember Francis Scott Key, the slave-owning lawyer, watching a flag through the smoke of battle. And most importantly, remember the hidden verse and the hirelings and slaves who were fighting for a freedom that the song's author wanted to deny them. It's a story that challenges us to look deeper, to question the symbols we hold dear, and to confront the complex and often painful truths of our shared history. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into our past insightful, please like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.